I didn't know you could actually
Hello and welcome
record.
to another
Oh.
edition of the Steve. It's not your turn. You just ruined it.
Sorry.
No, it's only my mom watching. We're okay.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna start over with composure. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Diversified Semantic Layer podcast. I'm joined by my pals Greg and Jamie, and none other than the man, the myth, the legend, the man crush, Steve Lucas. Hey, Steve.
Hello.
You may remember Steve from some great times, conferences, and leadership and stuff like that. How was the mini sabbatical, Steve?
The sabbatical is fantastic, actually. It is really cool because it's perfectly timed with both my kids going back to school, one off to college and one off to high school. And, I've always been working around this time of year. So it's actually cool to get to see them go off to school. Of course, when they leave, then I sit there and go, so now what do I do? But it's very cool. I'm actually enjoying the time.
We all had bets on if you'd have like a full beard and wife beater smoking a cigarette by now, or
I actually shaved for this podcast. Yeah.
He's got an image to maintain.
Truth be told, if I were to try and attempt to grow anything like what Jamie's sporting there, it would take me about 3.5 years. But I am wearing short sleeves. That's like my big change. I'm wearing a comfortable shirt and jeans.
Ooh.
Yeah, which actually belies where I may be going in the future.
Okay. All right.
So there's clue number one. Right.
You're gonna work at the Gap in Denver?
Absolutely. That's it. Actually, Baby Gap. I prefer that.
I do remember you had quite a fascination with skinny jeans at a conference several years ago.
Yes, indeed. I still am intrigued and fascinated, yet perplexed by that piece of fashion.
Good times. So obviously you are leaving SAP, which
have left.
Right. Which set off a Twitter firestorm. What do you think you're going to miss the most?
Undoubtedly, the people I worked with. I mean, a software company is just ones and zeros at the end of the day if it's not for the people, right? There's not much more to it than that. And had nothing but a high degree of enjoyment for the, with and for the people I worked with. There's a lot of really good relationships, especially over the last 7 years that you develop here in the community as well as at the company. So it's the people. The second thing I'll miss probably most is SAP is an incredible influence in the world. I mean, it's one of the largest software companies in the world. It's the largest business software company, and it's kind of neat to be able to have the kind of impact you can at SAP.
Yeah, no, definitely some life-changing stuff. What was your favorite project that you worked on? Either time, going all the way back, right? So, because you started doing Christopher Reports and writing Christopher Reports books, and
it's not just 7 years, right?
No, it's not. It's 11 years at Business Objects and 7 years at SAP. So that's a little bit of time between those two jobs. So Crystal Bob J. SAP in total's 18 years. That's a long time. My favorite, I'd have to go back to when I worked for Seagate Software before it became Crystal, and everyone mistook me for Steve Lusso, who was the chairman and CEO of Seagate. Lusso, Lucas, Steve, we look the same height and everything. Every time I would show up at a hotel in Vancouver, right by the office, they would give me his penthouse suite. And I never actually told them I wasn't him, but I want to be clear, nor did I tell them I was. So let's just, that was a fun moment. No, I would have to say, actually, out of all the things that I could probably think of, working on SAP HANA. And the reason I say it is not to, I don't have to promote, SAP HANA. It's a great product, but, being told that you can't win is the biggest motivator for me in the world. And number one, and number two, there's no way you can develop and build and grow a business like that without a lot of great people. And if I look at the team that exists around it now, but also the team that we built 5 years ago to get HANA off the ground, go to market-wise, et cetera, those were great people. They really were, and or are, and many of them still work on HANA today. And to see the impact that it's had in the industry, that's kind of cool. I like it when you make a dent in the universe. That's pretty fun. Oh, there is one other thing. I did once bet, and there is a video rumored to be floating around on YouTube. I bet someone that a product would ship on time. This was at Crystal before Business Objects acquired them. And if it didn't, then I would jump in the duck pond in the back of our office. And this duck pond, by the way, was the most, if you picture the most foul hole of muddy duck water ever, that would be this. It was probably about 3 feet deep, but constantly occupied by ducks, and it couldn't have been more than 30 feet wide. Anyway, the product did not ship on time, and I was allowed to wear shoes, I will say that. But I did have to take a dive in the duck pond. There's a guy named Matt Abernathy, if you're looking for him, out on LinkedIn, and I bet you $1 he has that video somewhere. So there is proof that I did jump in a duck pond.
Did that bet include a tetanus shot or anything else, just to make sure?
No, but I do remember a picture. I was standing in the sink in the kitchen, in the office. It had one of those little pull-out things. I'm standing, kind of washing myself down immediately afterwards. It was disgusting. So to this day, I can't walk by a duck pond and not get a little nauseous.
Sticks with you.
So how many Pokemon have you caught?
I have caught exactly 0. I believe that Pokemon Go is, I haven't figured it out yet. So my son has caught like 1,000, I'm going to guess, is probably the, like a Glarfinkel and other, ones that you catch or whatever. By the way, we did get something new. This is something new we got. We got one of these. Oh. Look at that, Jamie. I got a kitten. Go on, say it. Where's John Appleby?
Game changer. You know what you have to do.
Don't change the game.
I did get a new cat. That's one of the other things. Actually, we got 2 cats. We got Linus and Lucy, our new cats. So we got them last week. Yes, as in the Linus and Lucy.
Cats are the best things when you're a traveler because they can live on their own for a number of days before they actually need human interaction.
Well, they're literally the same. No, they are. Cats and goldfish are the same animals. I'll tell you why. Because they both live in a bowl. Your house is the bowl for your cat. And they swim around it. Once they get to one end, they just go back to the other, and then they start over and go to the other. And you're right, you can leave them alone for days on end, and they're just fine. So it's no problem.
You can do that with kids, too. You just got to make sure to overfill the food.
Yes, that's called cereal.
Yeah, you start getting lots of Frosted Flakes on the kitchen floor. And
So, you've had a long road from Crystal Decisions to Seagate Info to today. Thinking back those 18 years, could you imagine that trajectory through the leadership ranks at SAP, delivering things like HANA and now wherever you're going next?
No, not at all. I mean, not at all. There was I would say, a high desire to have the opportunity to shape the landscape of what products and solutions we were delivering, and how we solve challenges for customers and work with partners. But so there was a high desire, but no, not at all. The reality, and I've learned this. The first, probably, I'd say, if you kind of draw a line right down the middle of my career, the first half of my career, I thought and was convinced that the way to make it is on your own steam, and that it's not in a bad way all about you, but that if you can wow people and dazzle them and do a great job and all these other things, that you'll get where you need to go. And there was a moment, I can remember it very clearly. We don't have enough time to talk about that story. It's a story for another day, where I realized that I would not get where I wanted to go if I wasn't focused on the people around me instead of focused on myself. And you can make that conscious decision to do that. You can. And I made a conscious decision to focus more on the people around me and building great teams. And a wise person once said this to me, and this was during that moment. So I guess I'll spoil the whole story by saying this. He said, "Steve, you can either get the trophies or you can give them out, and you've got to make a choice." And I was a very wise person that gave me that advice, and I have tried to stick to that in my career, and I think it's made all the difference.
Brilliant.
That's great. I like that analogy a lot. That's good.
So, Steve, you said you had a young one heading off to college here soon. Actually, mine is next week as well. So I'm curious what you would give as like one piece of advice to a young person heading off to college that's looking to get into our industry.
Well, the first thing I would give, the first bit of advice I would give them is know someone in our industry. The reality is, like, if you look at my son, for example, my son is a video game developer, and he's taken every summer game development camps and courses almost all summer long. And this is a kid who likes his time off, so don't get me wrong. I mean, he loves to hang out and do nothing as much as the next teenage kid, but he has developed a set of relationships with the instructors at that, it's called ID Tech, that school, but he's also developed a relationship with people in the gaming industry, as a case in point. And I would tell anyone going off to school that wants to get into our industry, if you don't know someone that's in IT or technology, if you don't know a Jamie or a Steve or a whomever, a Bill, it doesn't matter, whomever it is, if you don't build a relationship with somebody that is outside of an academic environment, I mean no offense to academic environments at all, then I think you probably get maybe a little bit of a skewed view of the world, because the reality is that in today's world, I don't think that academics keeps pace with how quickly technology changes. Even today, I don't think that they do. And I've been, I looked at the syllabus for, some of the courses that are still being taught today, and I mean, basics of object-oriented programming, I think, make a tremendous amount of sense. But there's others that you sit there and scratch your head and go, why wouldn't someone need to learn a dead language? As I, you look at a syllabus. So I think it's a balance of having just a mentor on the right-hand side that's in the industry, and then on the left-hand side, just throwing yourself in the deep end and doing everything you can to keep up with all the technology changes that are going on.
Oh, sorry, I'm soaking that one in. I guess I kind of wonder about that question in a little bit different dimension. Students, sure, but as you part SAP, there's I think even in this ecosystem, there's a small army of people that sort of look up to you and you've done a lot. You've been a great leader. Even in the mentor program, you've always made time for us. Is the response any different for those of us in the ecosystem as you split? What's your response and your guidance back to those in the SAP world?
Well, at the end of the day, I mean, if you're not in business to be focused on your customers and your partners, what are you in business for? I think sometimes, and I'm not saying this about people at SAP. I think this is a very generalized statement. I think SAP does a good job at focusing on customers and partners, but the reality is that I mean, it comes back to the whole people thing, right? Software is just ones and zeros. It's not that interesting. What's interesting is what people do with it. I've always been more interested in that aspect of it, is what do people do with it, number one. And number two, part of the whole interaction with the community is I always have this fear of losing that human connection with your customer. I just have that, kind of, or your partner or whomever it may be. I just have that fear, especially in today's world. It's like Jamie and I mean, we're always, Snapchatting pictures back and forth to each other.
If you can slide into the DMs, you got to slide into the DMs, right?
So, I always fear that he and I may lose that human interaction due to Snapchat. No, for me, more than anything, it is honestly about, maintaining the human interaction. And, I guess I just have this simple thesis that a big company doesn't have to be a big company just because it's big.
Profound.
All right, so where are you going?
Ask away. I'm all yours. My calendar's open. I got hours, guys. So we're going all. I'm kidding.
All right. So you've been in tons of keynotes. Some humorous, some dead-on serious. Anything that you can share that was just a complete facepalm moment coming out of a keynote?
Well, yeah. I mean,
Jamie wants to answer for you apparently. He's like, wait, I got this.
Well, feel free. Go ahead. There was. Oh man. So many to choose from.
There was one.
Jamie.
You were doing a demo of. It was like a news aggregator almost.
Oh no! Don't even. I'm not even gonna go there. No. Yes. I know which one it is. We had built a web service connector to Dig, and I know which. And the article, no. So no, I'm not going there on that one. Yeah, that was one of those ones that you just let it die the ugly death it deserves.
You'll tell me later, right?
Jamie can tell you later. Yes, it is. That's right up there with like he who shall not be named. Let me see. Probably the biggest one. I mean, I've had a ton of them. I've had everything from right as voice of God is announcing your name and someone running backstage saying none of the internet's not Wi-Fi's not working, none of the demos are on, and you're standing there, like this, turning around, pointing to the audience that you're about to walk out to. I wouldn't say I had a facepalm moment, but the one tech ed speech I gave a couple of years ago where we gave away a car, I thought that was I did have a little bit of a Bob Barker moment, where I kind of felt like I was putting on a Price is Right thing.
Did you have to kiss somebody? Was it weird?
Yeah, no, we passed on that because most of them were dudes up on stage. But I would say, oh gosh, I could write a book for some. I did an entire keynote once with a wardrobe malfunction is how I'll characterize it. So
Snapchat?
Yep, not recorded though. Not recorded. It was not. You will not find it online. But I've had a few good ones. The thing about public speaking, it's one of my favorite things to do. I love being able to take what are the rather complex technologies that we deal with and simplify them down to something that's enjoyable and fun. And at the same time, try not to take myself too seriously. So we'll leave it at that, and I'll let Jamie share with you that moment later. All I can say is this: if you're gonna hook into a news feed for a live demo, and it was definitely live, that proved it. I would choose one. I wouldn't choose dig.com. I would choose, like a news feed from a children's bookstore or something like that.
Disney XD.
Yeah. Disney, yeah, great one. That's one I'd choose.
Wow. What about? Oh, go ahead, Jamie.
I was just going to ask if you're ready to announce where you were taking your talents. I'm guessing. Once you cycle through the gap.
Yes. So I'm not ready to announce where I'm going job-wise yet. I have a very specific opportunity that I'm very interested in, and I can share that whatever I do, it will be undoubtedly a cloud company, and that's as far as I can go. But it'll be. As I said before, I said, I think right post, Halloween's too late, Labor Day's too early, so I'm going to split the difference and go sometime around the beginning of October. Okay. Check my LinkedIn profile.
Steve, Clint and I were sincere. We're working on nabbing a 1973 VW Superbus. If you want to have another big data bus, join us. We got plenty of room.
That's the big data microbus.
Yeah, I got a beer fridge down here, some Cheetos. It's full on, dude.
I got hold on. This is one of my favorite little things here. You guys didn't know it, but I had these made.
Nice.
Okay, it's not that big.
This goes like that. Sometimes I do. I just, kind of roll it along.
It's powered by HANA.
It's powered by a little tiny version of HANA.
So you've got a gap. Anything on the bucket list? Take up knitting, shuffleboard. What do you want to do?
Well, we got 2 cats, so we did that, and
they take care of themselves, Steve. Come on.
I know, but we are kittens. But I would love to actually, in all seriousness, I would love to do take flying lessons, but for 2 reasons that's not going to happen. One is I'm type 1 diabetic, and as it turns out, the U.S. government discriminates. I'm going to call it out right now to the government universe against type 1 diabetics, because there's this whole we might pass out while we're flying thing. Like that's something really dangerous. I mean, come on. And then the second one was when my wife told me no. So I'm not sure which one you want to use, but they are both there. Actually, I am, believe it or not, I've got a book on Swift here, and I'm brushing up on some of my coding skills. It's been a long time, and just want to make sure that I am dialed in, so to speak. And so I'm doing a little work there. I've done my first Hello World application and put it. I got it working on my iPhone. I'm very proud of myself. And now I'm going to work on something a little bit more advanced. So that'll be fun. So I'm going to do that. And then over there, you can see those guys. I haven't picked up my one's a Martin and one's a Taylor, and I haven't picked those up in a while, so I'm going to brush up on my guitar and probably read a few good books here and there. And here's my other guess: is do a lot of kind of bailout homework for my kids.
Yeah. I'm just very interested to see how you go through the end of a quarter without having a quota.
Well, it's, you know what, it's interesting because you do wake up. My first Monday I woke up without being on a forecast call. I kind of opened my eyes and just laid there for a minute and stared at the ceiling and looked around. And it was like my body knew I was supposed to be doing something, and I had this like this panic that, you know, for a moment that I had missed the forecast call, and then I said, no, I'm good, I'm fine. So it is surreal after quite some time, but again, I will say it's one of those things where working with guys like Rob Enslin and Bill McDermott, who are just, you know, rock stars and class acts, they are, not everybody gets to see the human side of them. They are extraordinary human beings, and they've been fun to work with. We've kept in touch, and I'm sure we will going forward. But yeah, it's been a little weird. You guys have it, right? You get in that cadence of your forecast call, then your budget review, and I will say I'm not really going to miss the budget planning cycle this year.
Yeah, I'll bet that's extra fun with Germans. Yeah.
It's just, it's a very precise process that you go through. Not going to miss that.
Has anybody in the world actually missed the memo that you're gone and called you thinking they were going to talk shop or business or ask you for something?
Dozens. Yes, and yes, actually, I have. I've had. It's funny. I think I've been gone 2 weeks officially tomorrow from SAP, and two things have happened. One is I thought I would not. I thought, well, I'll just. In my head, it's like, well, you are, leaving, and everything will be quiet. And that's not the case at all. Actually, I've been more busy these 2 weeks being away from SAP than I have actually at SAP. Just there's literally hundreds and hundreds of people that call you that just want to catch up, what's going on. But yeah, I've had a few people that have called me and said, can we have a sit down with you? We'd like to talk about partnering with SAP. And I said, sure, no problem. I can't help you in the slightest, but I'm happy to sit down, have you buy me lunch.
Let's say, Steve, this is where you got to work on your consulting rates, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I gotta get that practice down. I think my goal is to do, the one thing about, life. I have 2 board jobs. So I'm on the board of directors of Rovi, and we're acquiring TiVo, and I'm also on the board of SendGrid, which Rovi is a publicly traded company, and SendGrid is a privately held company. And it's been really fun to get a little bit more deeply involved in those boards over the past 2 weeks than what I've had or been able to do as a full-time employee at the same time. So that's been pretty cool, actually, to be able to jump in and do that.
So is that basketball behind you the one that you used to beat Lisa Leslie at?
Is that the one? No, that's not the one. That basketball is from that basketball was signed by George Karl, who was the only good coach that the Nuggets ever had. The day after he got Coach of the Year, and just shortly before, the Nuggets inexplicably fired him.
All right.
Go Nuggets.
Anything else awesome on the shelf behind you want to walk us down memory lane with? Anything?
Well, sure. Yeah, I got there's the here's the Broncos helmet from the Super Bowl right there. And of course, this is signed by Troy Aikman. He and I did a little SAP thing together, and I remember shaking. I've got a picture of him somewhere, but I shook his hands, and it was literally like grabbing a bunch of bananas. He's got hands the size of banana. It's like banana hands, and you're like. Suddenly you feel really insecure and inferior. No, he that was very cool. And then Marshall Falk, who he signed that one. He's a great one. I got a good SAP collection, and here's my wall of SAP. This is my favorite one right here. This is my favorite one. That's the WAS. But I do have my there's Troy Aikman right there. I mean, look at that cup of coffee. Does that not look like a thimble in his hands?
That's a venti. It's got to be.
Yeah, exactly. I'm telling you. I mean, I don't mean to sound obsessed, but it was like really intimidating at the time. So there you go. That's a little tour of my office. As you can see, I have more hands on my time than I know what to do with at this point.
Well, we couldn't be happier for you, and thank you for giving us a little peek behind the curtains.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure.
I wanted to steal that from Jamie before he got to ask. Well, the best of luck to you. We certainly hope to be three guys to stay in touch with you long after you've settled in a new role, and we'll call it a show. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. It's great being friends, and I look forward to the next adventure. And by the way, it won't stray too far from SAP.
Okay. All right.
Good to know.
See you guys.
I'm excited to hear what my next technology obsession will be. So.
Fanboy.
All right. See you guys. Bye.
This podcast is hosted and sponsored by EV Technologies. Visit us on the net at savethecms.com.
D-Slayer!